Good. Finally, we are here.
Welcome, Dr. Hamad. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because they didn't
joining.
have me as a presenter. I was waiting there. And
I'm so sorry. I just saw the message from Dr. Fatiha.
no
Thank you
issue.
so much for joining, Dr. Hamad.
Yeah.
Dear colleagues, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to the last professional development session organized by ADU Smart Learning Center in this fall. Today, Dr. Hamad is going to talk about instructional design and educational technology. I'm not going to introduce Dr. Hamad because he does not need any introduction. But before giving the floor to him, I request all of you to please go to our PD app to show that you are present. You can use the app for your attendance and for your feedback. Dr. Hamad, I would give the floor to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You will let them in all now?
They are in, yeah. We have 69 attendees today, Dr.
Very
Hamad.
good. Excellent. I can see some hands up there. We'll come to hands up in a minute. So thank you, everyone, for attending today. This is your last session, sim for this fall. I hope this platform of professional development created by Dr. Fatiha and the team in the Smart Learning Center is helping you in getting you connected at least and sharing some of the knowledge you have. And I think it's important that you also take the responsibility to provide some sessions. I know a number of you doing that, but the more we share, then that experience will grow and hopefully we'll be able to do more and more together. So today is about instructional design. And before I get into that, let me log into my AHA slides and then we'll get you through that quickly. And I'm sure you're using AHA slide. If you're not using AHA slide, it's really, you should consider using it. It's a very good tool to engage your student. Also, you can use it to collect some data for some of your research and activities you do, which will be, I think, useful to everyone. I'm just, let me share screen. Okay, so it's loading, still loading, so it came now, very good. So let me find that presentation. Good. So before we start our session, I have few questions for you to answer, and then we can go to the session. You need to log into AHA slides and then participate in this one. Let me copy the link. I'll put it in the chat so all of you can see it, hopefully. Let's go there. So everyone, it seems that, and here, okay. I'm putting it in the chat, but I'm not sure if that everyone is able. Dr. Risha, can you please send it to everyone? I put it in the chat.
I will.
It up the chat, allow me only to send it to the panel.
Sure, I will also help Dr. Richa and I'll send it as well.
Okay,
Very
thank
good.
you, Mr.
Excellent.
Mohammed. Thank you.
So this is the first question I have for you. Let's go to the first one. What do you hope to gain from today's session? This is a quick one. We need to understand what you want to benefit or get from this session. So maybe you can focus on it and make sure at least we touch on it if we're not going to do it fully. So take your time to do this. And I think you are doing that. Results should be coming here. I can see you coming in, but you're not adding anything, but I'm sure you will add some more answers to this one. Yeah, I can see one came, learn about instructional design. That's obvious, very good, thank you for that. to be more effective in course design. Very good, Dr. Jaya. And as I guess we will learn how to design the instructional material. Very good, that's correct, that's a part of it. New features for the tools, use technology in teaching, practical ideas for my future classes, understand how to incorporate information technology into lesson, ideas to be implemented specifically for math courses. Very good. Increase the effectiveness of courses. I would like to know the principles governing the instructional design. That's very good. How to design and then how to use, and I will design course. Very good. This, I think most of it are there in the presentation. So let's jump to the second question before we go to more. Why are you interested in learning about instructional design? I think some of this answered in the previous question. I'll skip this one for now. Let's get here. I think this is important for me to know this one. After COVID, 2 years, 3 years, I think a long time, I can see, we noticed students coming back from that experience different. I don't know what different. I want to know what gaps you noticed in their learning, their abilities, in their behavior, whatever it is. Those gaps you notice that make it maybe for them little challenging or more challenging to be able to effectively learn the course learning outcome and things like that. And that need to be bridged in some way. So if one, they have forgotten how to write, okay, that's really challenging. I think if they're forgetting how to write as a writing is really a big issue. But handwriting, maybe that's one thing, but in terms of structuring their thinking and looking, I think that they should not lose, but I see that there is an issue in this one. Mostly knowledge gap, ability to focus, less motivated, working in groups with patient and listening to others. Short-term attention to class. Yeah, this is an issue they're facing. They're not lacking that one. They're facing short, very good. Lack of motivations. I see that one. Attention to class. Some problems in time management. None. It's working very well. Very good. Lack of commitment. We are okay. They have issues with presenting in front of others. They become more receptive than active. Lots of streaming and screen sharing and less of doing things. Yeah, maybe that's the issue about it. Very good. I think there's so many things here. They are really challenges. I can summarize them. There are some lack in knowledge and some related to behavior, personality, attitude. Because of this, spent lots of time isolated, physically isolated, but they are connected with everyone, and that's seen causing some problem. I saw some writing there, maybe ability to present in front of group because they lost that one. Software application, they should have been better. But I think if you're talking from a degree program, like you're teaching software engineering or teaching computer engineering, that can be an issue because they didn't get enough time to really practice it. But they came with more technology skills, hopefully. They are expecting the freedom that they had, okay. Face-to-face presentation, okay, this is most same. I can see Zoom now had some good things, like I can call someone to give feedback on this. Not Zoom, this is has slides, has this ability. It's very nice. Okay, good. Thank you for that. Okay, this one is not for you now. Leave it for later. Let me go into my presentation, and then we will go through that. Okay, so what outcome? We're looking at a few things. We'll discuss the role of instructional design in developing quality course content, why we need it, how it can help, and things like that. And then compare the most common instructional design models. There are a number of models. We'll go through them, and each one focusing on or better for certain situation, but it can also support other situation. We'll look at those models, and then from this you can select which one you think is good for you. Some guidelines on developing and engaging e-learning content. We'll discuss how you can apply instructional design model to your course, and then how to evaluate the learning system. These are some of the topics we will be covering today. So what is instructional design, in your opinion? I think just think about it for a few seconds. What is instructional design? The other question is really instructional design for e-learning, or it can apply to normal learning, face-to-face and all different activities? Here is a definition, formal definition for instructional design. It's a process, in fact. It's a process by which the learning content, the experience, designed, developed, and delivered. So it covers the design, the development, and delivery of learning material. And the process you go through is instructional design. But when you do this, you think of the learner. I think of the learner, how he or she learns, what they need to learn, and what sort of activities are going to learn, what evaluation we need to do to make sure this is effective and it's producing the outcome we need. The other part of the question, is it only for e-learning? No, e-learning benefits a lot from instructional design, but it's also for normal face-to-face. When you design your course for a face-to-face activities, instructional design can be very helpful for you in that aspect. So why do we need it? Again, this is number of things. You need to make this learning material which you're creating, or the process of learning, more effective, efficient, engaging, appealing, and cost effective. You need to get it to happen faster a little bit if possible, with less cost and become more engaging. This is the overall instructional design components. So it has a component, if we start from here, is thinking of the learners' learning needs. Give me a second, please. So you think now of your learners, what they want to learn. What are the things that if they learn, it will give them advantage and help them become better, effective employees, or become a more effective person. So what are their needs? And you focus on that first and understand what they need for that. For example, if we're designing a program for computer engineering, those engineers to be able to come from this degree and work in a company as a computer engineer, what are the things they need to learn and how they can be supported in that journey to be able to learn. And you think of that. This is a bigger picture. And then you come into the learning objective. It's very similar to where we do our program design and course design. Usually the learning need can be done through some market studies, some focus groups, some looking at previous student experience, looking at the market around you, and all those different components happening. So now we think of the learning objective Second, then you start designing the structure of your program. What are the units in the program? What are the subunits? How this can be delivered in your mind, the sequence of those, and you start doing that one. While you do that, you need to develop the assessment, because now you need to measure the learning. Assessment is not really exam only. Assessment is, as you know, more than that. It can be practical activities and writing projects and all different components of assessment that help students learn, as well as demonstrating what skills, knowledge, competencies he or she is developing through going through that one. And then create the engaging and impactful learning experience. This is the hardest one, in my opinion. Here you have to think, I'm going to teach them this component about, say, financial forecast. How we can make this really engaging for the student? What the different ways to do it? Do I just do a PowerPoint presentation and go and explain it, or put them in a group, or give them a case of a company that have certain product and certain customers, and give them a work to work on it and see how that. Should I bring a case study in this case to show a company who did a financial forecast and how they did with the financial forecast, were they successful or what happened with that one? You start now thinking of those different engaging activities that can be, some of it has to be, many of it has to be fun, in my opinion, but fun with focus on the impact of that. You need to motivate the student to learn, and also you want to make sure they really learning what they need to learn, and not just wasting their time. So this part is very challenging, and again, you can see now it's not only e-learning, all learning need that one, and all will benefit from that one. And then you start developing those learning material. Finished your design, you have a structure in place, you have objectives, you put your lessons into components. You came with some ideas how to can engage student in different components. Now you start developing those materials. Sometimes you already have, or there's so many resources in place, but you need to put them together in a way that it integrates the learning activities plus the knowledge the student will get, and then you start developing them. This can be in any format. You think that lots of multimedia can be used, like videos, simulations, interactive tools you can use, but also there are normal activities that face-to-face doesn't require any technology, but require them to sit together on a table, have piece of papers, and they start designing and discussing and putting a solution. Or can be going to the lab and working with some equipment that they need to do. And then you've done all this, you need to think now, how are we going to evaluate the effectiveness of this program you designed, or course you designed, or what level it is, and you should have some tools in place to look at it. And formally, in terms of our programs, we know we have accreditation, we're looking at mapping, PLO, CLO, looking at indicators to achieve those PLOs, finding what courses we should use to measure and collect data. And there are some also student feedback, looking at the outcome of student projects and assignment they created, and things like that. So lots of things you can do here to design your program, you implement it, and then you look at the evaluation, you look at the data. Here you design your evaluation, how you're going to evaluate, but here you do the evaluation, you conduct the actual evaluation, and that's get you into the program. It's very similar to the normal one. Here only this part will include more thinking of using of technology. If you are in e-learning and you start using those different tools, the tools, any tool, I'm a strong believer of that. Any tools you will use, you can make it produce impactful result if you think about it carefully and you think of the learning, you don't look only at the visual and graphics and how things, you get into more than that. It's important aspect on instructional design, you look at the visual side, but also you go into more than that. If you just keep it at that level, it will be nice thing on the screen, but we're not going to produce any result. Now, if someone wanted to move into instructional design and become instructional design, the other things they need to be able to do it. So they should have ability to be agile with the development, be eager to learn new things and research them and find information and explore different tools and different methods of teaching online or teaching face-to-face, and how that can help education. They should focus on quality as well. They should have certain standards to follow and measure to make sure that what they're doing and how creating at the end is impactful. The project management is important because there are lots of steps we'll see later that you need to go through to develop the content, evaluate them, and do everything. So some knowledge of project management is required. Communication is a must. You're dealing with stakeholders. Sometimes instructional designer is in the middle between the content, student experience, and subject matter expert or the faculty who is teaching the course, and trying to communicate all these things. They also deal with the senior management who pushing that project with certain agenda. They want to get it quickly, or they want less cost, or whatever. So this ability to communicate with all these people is critical for instructional designer, and make sense of all these things and make it support the project. Should have a learner focus. Always think about it from the student point of view. Without that, you will create something maybe a student will not find useful. And creativity is a must to be able to come with better learning object design, learning experience. So now, before we get into some of these examples of instructional design, let's think a little bit about learning modality. And we know sometimes people mix them with the learning style. Learning style are slightly different, but basically people learn either. It's a mix. There's nobody learn only visual. So if you give him a piece of paper, he will get nothing from it. No, we will get, but at a certain level. It's not full detail. So it's in between. It's not really separate thing. They are connected. And then others who better with audio, more usually audio, video, they go together. And nowadays, because of how much time our kids and students are spending watching videos on TikTok or YouTube and others, so you get the two coming closely. But some of our students finding the audio is little bit sometimes on its own is not appropriate. But there's a mix, as we said. Reading and writing, believe it or not, there are students you will find in your class, few students maybe, not nobody, I can't agree with that, who really can learn through reading and writing. And those people, if you're just focusing on those who are visual and audio learners, you're missing those important students. So you need to mix it as well. And those are who like practical. I have to say, from my experience, I'm seeing more of students who like the practical part of it. They get more engaged when it is practical, and practical is a good way to get them to learn. But again, the other aspect, not everybody really like only practical. The others who like to watch a video, see someone doing the work. These are the modality. It's more of how people, this will help us in looking at the material we create. So it should be a variety of material that we create to help students to learn. And maybe more of it in one direction, but they need to be a mix. The other thing is the learning style. The learning style is the way we learn. Again, there is no one only. it's a mix. You'll find yourself maybe going more here or less here and here, but you will mix that one. I will have an exercise for you to try if you would like to try this one quickly. So the first one is step learner. Those who like to see tutorials, step-by-step instructions to help them to learn. Should we just give them only that? No, we need to give them, again, as you said, we need to give them a mix, because not all students are learning only one way. And the student himself can learn in different ways. So step learner, those people desire to give them more practicals and clear step-by-step objective. You click here, you click there, you add this one, you go create this one, and inside it, you inject some of the important things as well, that high level that they need to think about it. Don't make it just dry 1, 2, 3. This good for operators. If you are operating an equipment, you can train someone to do this one and they will operate it and go. But it's not good enough for if you want someone to develop himself or herself for the future. Then you need to give them other skills or push them a little bit in other skills. The talk learner who like to talk about things or hear about it, rephrase it. If you say something in his mind, he will rephrase it in his or her own way to say it. I do that a lot. I think many people do that, because this way you relate it to you, you simplify it in the way you like it, and it's stuck in your brain more. So these people like to put them into some further exchange and discussions and ask them, give them opportunity to say things in their own way and summarize what they learn. Research learners, those who need to find information and read about it and look about how this information is presented and come with ideas. So those people, good always to give them a debate where they go and collect all the information, prepare themselves and look at the facts and experience and come ready to do that debate. Give them things to look at the big pictures. That also can help them look at, for example, if you look at the finance, the slowdown or the crash of the market into 2008, research that one and come say, are we in a similar condition to pre-2018, so that maybe we'll get another one and start debating. They will enjoy this one if they are, or so many other things you can look at in this one. And the last one is the create. There are learners who would like to create things. They can give them a problem and say, create this solution. And you create for me a computer program that does this, does that, or create a robot, or make this robot does this one or that one, or create a model for your organization structure, whatever it is. So create, those people will love doing creation. Now there is a link here, I'll put it in the chat again. You can go through it and look at your own learning style. It's not really a long one, it's a very nice one. I think you can do it quickly if you want. I'll just put it in the chat. Again, please repost it because I'm posting only to.
I will do it. I will do it, Dr. Hamid.
Take few minutes to do that, but there is another activity I have for you. Is if you don't want to do that exercise, you can come here and do this activity I have for you, which, how do you learn? Okay, do this one maybe, and we'll see how many of you, and you can do the other one your own later. So let's see, in our room here, we have 79, 77 or whatever. How many? I can only 26 connected to AHA slide. We need more, 27. And need to see in our distribution how many of us. This you can use in your class on first day of the class or first week, just to get an idea of how the distribution your student. You're not going to make it just for the majority of them, but you can understand now, I need more maybe videos here, or maybe you need to give them more activities here to do. And things like that. So you start visualizing or understanding better what your students are really, how they learn, what the best way they learn. So you can still, as I imagine, the visual still big, creating is good, okay? And practicing and creating sometimes the same, but here creating is more about creating a solution at the end, not practicing steps or things, but it's related, they are related. Visual still 6. I need more. I want to see at least 40 of you do this. Very good. Okay, I see some hands here. And thank you for that. There are no questions. You can ask questions through this one as well, but you don't need, you can do it through. Okay. Good. So you can see that we are more into, so far we are, the visual is still the biggest one, the practical, the second one, the researching is the next one, then creating and writing. And yeah, that's very good. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's do more on I will keep it there. You can continue adding your data. You can look at it after we're done with the next part of it. Now, the next thing we need to talk about it, one of the models that's used in instructional design is called universal design for learning. I think we have a specific session by someone, one of you is doing this, which is really great. I appreciate it, on universal design for learning. It's happening hopefully, I think in the spring semester, or maybe already done. I'm not following clearly on that one, but we'll find out. So the idea behind it, students are different. We notice they learn differently. They prefer different learning modality. And this concept came, let's think of everyone. Let's not exclude any of the learners. And this is why they call it universal learning design. So the first thing, it's for all students in your group. And then the second one, it is giving flexibility to the student to learn. So you give them flexibility to find the material, to use which material they want to do, and to demonstrate their learning. A group wanted to do a video because they like using videos to show their learning. Let them do a video. Another group said, no, my best way to present my learning is I will write an article about it and I do a paper. The other group said, no, I can do a presentation about this. They can have different way to demonstrate the learning, but also they can have different way to access the material. Where is, I need to shut Microsoft Teams. Sorry. Okay, I have to do something with this Microsoft Teams. Was it here? Okay, good. So we're back here. So that's flexibility. Then the engagement is very important in that. And here is a short video. Let's make sure this one is optimized to share video clip. Just maybe we'll go here. I'll run it.
This teacher needs to meet a curriculum goal, and she's got a very diverse group of students. And so does this teacher. And this one. Most do. In fact, research shows that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. What does this mean for teachers of today? Classrooms are highly diverse and curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet this diversity. Universal design for learning is an approach to curriculum that minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Whoa, that's a fancy term. Universal design for learning. Let's unpack it a bit. Let's think about the word universal. By universal, we mean curriculum that can be used and understood by everyone. Each learner in a classroom brings her own background, strengths, needs, and interests. Curriculum should provide genuine learning opportunities for each and every student. Now let's think about the word learning. Learning is not one thing. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have three broad networks. One for recognition, the what of learning, one for skills and strategies, the how of learning, and one for caring and prioritizing, the why of learning. Students need to gain knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm for learning, and a curriculum needs to help them do all three. But every learner is unique, and one size does not fit all. So how do we make a curriculum that challenges and engages diverse learners? This is where the word design comes in. A universally designed building is planned to be flexible and to accommodate all kinds of users, with and without disabilities. It turns out that if you design for those in the margins, your building works better for everyone. Curb cuts and ramps are used by people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, and people on bikes. Captioning on TV serves people who are deaf, people learning English, people in gyms, and spouses who get to sleep at different times. UDL takes this idea and applies it to the design of flexible curriculum. UDL goes beyond access because we need to build in support and challenge. So how do we use the UDL framework to make learning goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone? First, ask yourself, what is my goal? What do I want my students to know, do, and care about? Then ask, what barriers in the classroom might interfere with my diverse students reaching these goals? To eliminate the barriers, use the 3 UDL principles to create flexible paths to learning so that each student can progress. Number 1, provide multiple means of representation. Present content and information in multiple media and provide varied supports. Use graphics and animation, highlight the critical features, activate background knowledge, and support vocabulary so that students can acquire the knowledge being taught. Number 2, provide multiple means of action and expression. Give students plenty of options for expressing what they know and provide models, feedback, and supports for their different levels of proficiency. Number 3, provide multiple means of engagement. What fires up one student won't fire up another. Give students choices to fuel their interests and autonomy. Help them risk mistakes and learn from them. If they love learning, they will persist through challenges. And remember, always keep in mind the learning goal. Get rid of barriers caused by the curriculum and keep the challenge where it belongs. And that's it. Okay, quick recap. Show the information in different ways, allow your students to approach learning tasks and demonstrate what they know in different ways, and offer options that engage students and keep their interest.
Very good. Okay, so back to, where are we back here? Okay, so in summary, these are the 3 things. This is what we need to focus on. We need to think of getting students to think why they learn. If you start a class on teaching something, you need to explain to them why they need to study this one today. We're talking about, say, anything, object-oriented programming. Why object-oriented programming is important? Why not use structural programming and other methods to do? What challenges if you don't do that? What the opportunities you will lose if you don't move into object-oriented programming and things like that. So why is very important and what they're going to learn and then how they're going to learn. So these are the three things that they're focusing on. There are a number of examples on how to use UDL and what areas you can use in assignments and flexible workspaces and providing regular feedback, digital and audio text, all those different components that can help you. Now I need just to have some discussion now. We talk about so far three things. We talk about learning modality, we talk about learning style, and we spoke about the UDL. We need to hear from you. I think if we can get some of the members, please, to speak and tell us, how do you think this can relate to your teaching and where you can make the best of it? Are you planning to, your experience so far with students with different learning style, different learning modality, and how this experience been there? What do you learn from it? What you advise others to do, or you will do yourself? So let's have some discussion on that. I can see there are some hands. So if you can please start allowing the team in, Dr. Resha.
Yeah, Dr. Hamad, we have Dr. Reem's hand up, and Dr. Kashif's is from before.
Yeah.
But I'll allow Dr. Reem to talk first.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Dr. Reem.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Dr. Hamad. Thank you for this presentation. Actually, this webinar just now, especially with this video, paid my attention to the program of sustainable architecture in post-graduation, the master. We have had some low enrollment this year, and I think doing it online as universal design will help first to get more enrolled students, especially the one who is working, for example, in governmental entities, who can join in the online. The ladies who have children and so on cannot join easily, the campus. And we saw this in online teaching. And also we can raise the enrollment by having other students from all over the world. So I think this is very important. The third point, we can invite also professors from abroad who can teach, who can do lectures or even seminars online, more than coming to the campus or having issues with visa, working time, and so on. And this will definitely attract more students. It will give importance to the master's program, and of course it will be richer as a quality also of teaching, knowledge, learning. So I think this is very good. This universal design will help us to accommodate people from different countries, people from different backgrounds, students who just finished their studies, but people who have experience also. And choosing the right time is also good. So yeah, I think this is very good for us to try in this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
We also have Dr. Jamal. Dr. Jamal.
Yeah, please.
Yes, Dr. Jamal from ECT, from LCT, Liwa College of Technology. Very interesting, and what we can, the least we can say is this is a whole world of methods and strategies, and now going back to the UDL, Universal Design Learning, the two questions where there is really a need to focus is the why and how, because the what I think even the student realizes because that's what the curriculum is, what you're going to teach and or do as activities, etc. Now, the why portion, I think the why side is the student realizes it's just that he or she passes the exam, but it's up to, of course, the instructor or the people that deliver to be more innovative in the way that, for example, we do find lots of challenges in the scientific subjects like mathematics and statistics, etc., where there is nothing much to manipulate. You know, the people who have things to manipulate have this option of, for example, bringing some activities, etc. So, for example, from my experience, the why is very important, because if you really succeed in this, then that's a very, very, very important way to motivate the students. Because students usually don't see, especially in theoretical things, they don't see the interest or the importance of the things if you don't convince them that this is very important and why you learn this. For example, one of the things we try to do, even in mathematics, is to relate these concepts that we teach to the everyday life. For example, bring in some, for example, especially with our students that are employees in different sectors, in different industries, we try always to relate these notions in direct and indirect ways to their everyday life and the problems they face in their work, for example. And that's lots of them get interested. Now, the other side is the strategy, the how. The how also is something that we really need as instructors to develop, because the how is very important. You teach statistics, for example, in a dry way, and the students get asleep. And I imagine it happens also in other subjects. And so the how, we have found some very subtle tools also by practice. Is sometimes, for example, we insist, and it's not, and try to convince the students in not only by listening, even if they pay 100% attention to the instructor, that they will learn. The how, you have really to bring in all our tools, like, for example, going to dig further in the exercise sheets, going to discuss outside the classroom with your with your colleagues in the workplace. Learning from other students is another way, which sometimes is very effective. It turns out that sometimes, and that takes us to the video that was shown, that people are very, very different. I like the thing that the lady said, that the way people learn is as much varied as their fingerprints. That's very interesting. And that's something we can see in the students. And it turns out that sometimes some students learn more from their peers than from you. You who think that you are very smart and you explain very very clearly and stuff like that. So I think yes, we need really to be innovative in this too, the why and the how, more than the what. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jamal. It's really interesting. Just on the what side, one thing I will have to say, the what help you design what the learning experience. And example in mathematics, for example, if students want them to do follow a certain formula, for example, what are the fundamental things or the prerequisite they need to know first before getting them into this one? If I spend hours and hours trying to solve differential equations and they don't understand something very critical,
very true,
they need to do. It helps us in this way, in looking at it, what are the prerequisites we need to do. But the how and why are critical, as you said. The why is a motivator. If I know where I can use this one, this mathematics small you do, it is done in high-tech solution in a space rocket or aircraft or whatever, and how it used will motivate them to now, oh, this is important. If I learn this one, it helped me here and there. So I agree with you. The two are takes most of the time, but the what is important when you start designing the learning content you need to do.
Dr. Hamid, we also have Ms. Dinaz's hand raised. Can
Please,
we
yeah, please get her in, and then we'll have still lots of material to cover. So we'll do one, and then we'll go continue. Go ahead.
Ms. Dinaz?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Richard, Dr. Hamad. If we don't have time, I can speak later. Thank you, no worries.
Take your time.
Okay, so I was just going to say that the importance of UDL is that we need to ensure that the students who are left out in either range, at the lower range or the higher range, are included. So it's really one of the tools for inclusive learning. And I think that one of the key things is that in our context, why is this important? This is important because we need to ensure that where students, a lot of students have English as a second language, the way that we even present the content has to be intelligible and meaningful to them in terms of understanding language. So the multiple forms of representation become really important. Later on, I can speak about engagement and their own expression, but I just wanted to put that out there for now, that in terms of the learner himself and building that confidence of the learner, the more that we present information in multiple ways will really help us to, I think, deliver the content more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who, I know many of you wanted also to contribute, but because of the time, we have to move. You'll have an opportunity to do on the next one. We still have also here, we can see visual 11, researching is 10, and practicing is 10. This is our group distribution, mostly going into that direction. Now on this one, again, if you can use your time to go and fill this one for those who didn't get the opportunity to say their feedback or their comments or inputs through the audio, you can add it here. I'll leave it there, and then we'll go ahead now. One of the models in instructional design is the ADDIE. Basically, this model is like a project management tool that you can use to help you manage the project of instructional design, project and creation of the content. It has those 5 stages with learning in mind. It's not a normal project management where you do things, a normal thing. This is a learning instructional design. The objective is to create a learning experience for the student and meet the course and program learning outcomes that you are working on. So it starts from the analysis. You need to understand the first situations of your learners and what they need to learn and what tasks and projects they will do at the end, and how you need to enable them. We take that data, understanding that you build the design, your project, which come with different learning object maybe, and modules, units, and you put them together to come with also activities and assessment and all different things. You design it here. This is a design base where you can think of all this. Then you develop it, and development will require maybe work with some graphics people, multimedia peoples, and those who will do for you, creating for you the content you need. And then once you come with the development and start working on it with all the teams, you start in the implementation. The implementation is the delivery of the course. You run the course for your student, for your learners, and you distribute the material, you do all the things needed to be done, and run the classes. And then you come into the evaluation. So the many schools follow this model when they develop an online program or online course, which is very useful to take you through the steps. But you need, when you do this one, you think of all the things. UDL can be here, it can be here, it can be here, it can be everywhere, UDL. Learning styles, learning modality will be considered in every step you're going through when you're working with details and creating the storyboard or creating the learning object to do. So that's one model which people will use. The other model is action mapping for instructional design. The action is, again, I think Dr. Jamal will love this one, will like it, is what the learner need to do, not to know. You need to focus on what they need to do. I'm becoming an HR employee in a company. As an HR employee looking after, for example, employee engagement, what I should be able to do when I get there. And why I'm not doing it, why I can't do it. I need my student to be able to create a website with a connection to database and visualize the result on the screen. Now, my student is not able to do it. Why? Because he doesn't know maybe what is database or how database work, or maybe he knows how all these things, but he doesn't know how to use this specific programming language to do it. So now I understand where is the situation, why he is not able to do it. He is not able to solve this equations or integration or do this lab or complete this experiment because he doesn't not able to do it. Sometimes is why is not only technical or competencies, it is more behavior, attitude, other things. So you need also to consider some other things, maybe not able to afford buying this equipment to be able to do that experiment. This is why he's not doing it. So maybe you need to focus on finding it. Or maybe it's very challenging to do it in his environment. So you can maybe come with a simulation or something like that. So focusing on what they need to do and why they are not doing it. So you now come with the plan. And this is a very famous book and one of the references in this area by Kathy Moore, where she describe and explain everything. I think here I will share the presentation for all of you. You can go here and get to her website, and then you find more information about the map learning. There are a number of tools available, Mindstream, Mind Map, so many tools can help you think of it this way. It help you analyze the performance problem, why the student cannot do it, or why he needs to do and he cannot do it. That help you with that one. Then you can identify potential solution for that one. And those solutions can be many solutions to make sure the learner is able to do it and motivated to do it. Design the performance-based activities that challenge your learners to put their skills into practice. Also, Action Learner has 9 steps here, which we start by kick-off meeting to understand the learners and what he need to do, where to do. Usually this is very useful when you start thinking of designing upskilling program. You have employees who are working thing. Now a new technology came, or they came with a new process or new equipments, or the position has completely changed and became something else. You need to move them into the next level. So understanding first from the end users and from the stakeholders what need to be done, what are the job description, what the activities people will be taking, and you start looking at that one. You look at the company goal. If it's a company, you're going into that. Then you create the map of this using mind map, Mindstream, Mira. There's so many software around. If you search on the web, you'll find many of them which visualize it like a map. You have a center point where your project, and then you branch into different areas, and each one you branch in another area, and then you can visualize different components that you need to working on it, and what are the details of each component. Then you focus on which one you need to do first. On those actions, you create a prototype of the learning experience. You develop the practical components. You run it. You get feedback from the people, and you make adjustment and measure the impact. If you go to this website, one thing I missed doing, I didn't do, I think, is let me go quickly on here. On the UDL, this website, which you'll find it in the presentation, will take you to the UDL page, and they are really very good. They give you examples of course syllabi for different courses and what are the different components you need to include there to make sure all learners are included and you made all the different things. It has so many useful information. It's all free. There's so many videos and giving practical examples of how this can be worked and examples like that. So this one you'll find in the website. Similar thing if we go to the mind map. I added a link here that can be also useful. Here is an example we created using H5P. By the way, we have a full subscription to H5P, and I think Brian came and gave a nice session to all you about H5P. H5P is one of the very great tools created first by MIT, and then made it a spin-off company who do support it at the moment. It allows you to create so many interactive learning material. And here is an example of one created using mind mapping. It's like a story journey that, let me see if I run it here. And you get into a description of a story here and saying, this is the introduction, this is what you're going to do. And then it's about, I think, home visit, someone visiting someone at home who seem have a problem with another partner, and you're trying to understand how she can support her. So when you do this practice, you need to know how to speak to this person, how to extract information, how to sense where is the problem and find the solution. And there are certain trained practitioners who do this one. So this is something like helping people going through this process where they can start with a case study explaining this situation. This lady, Rina, this is her situation, this is her profile, and you can create these things in using H5P. The challenge is the videos created by, there is a solution for the videos as well. And then you click now proceed, it will start the video. So this lady a practitioner coming to a house and knocking on the door. She knows there is someone who needs help there, but she doesn't know exactly what is the situation or what is the problem. So
who is it? What do you want?
Now, she asked, she heard someone saying, what do you want? And seems that person is not right. There's something wrong with them. So what are the actions she should take? She should say we have an appointment, we should meet, or express concern for the client. Why you are feeling like that? I feel you are worried, or refer to a mental health assistant.
Who is it?
Or reply.
What do you want?
Go back to previous video just to learn what to do. So based on the answers, if I say, for example, I will express.
The people at the hospital were worried about you and asked me to visit you. Please open the door.
There is nothing to worry about.
So this was the wrong thing I did. I should not do that. I should tell her we have an appointment, would like to meet you. And she knows about the appointment. So based on the answer of the student, he gets a feedback on his answers, and then until he gets into the right, or she gets into the right direction to go in. So this sort of a mapping of the learning journey that the student will go through to get into what they need to do. So this is the action mapping example. What's the time? We can, yeah, let's go to this one quickly, and then we will come to some discussion. Now, when we create now the learning experience, this person came with 9 things from starting your class until you leave the class. What are those things you need to do? So he described those journey, and we do this every day. We go through those steps every day. But are we concerned about them? Are we considering them, or we just get into class and do what we need to do? Some of us jump directly in one step and do everything there, and maybe and leave, and others who look at all those different steps. So let's look at them quickly. First one is gaining attention of your student. You started a class, you want to gain their attention, you want them to be focused on you, forget everything outside, they will distract them, or things happen before, and get them there. And here there's so many things you can do. It needs creativity as well, so get them to gain your attention, like you discussing with them what you did last time, or what happened, or get some discussion on certain things. So that's what you need to look at it. Some people use jokes here as well. You need to be careful with that, do it properly, rightly, and get them to be with you, forget the other things outside. This is one of the things on public speaking. They will tell you, you need to ground yourself on the floor. So you need to be sure that you have the attention of everyone, and you are getting them with you. Then you inform them of the objective we need to do today. And now sometimes we do the objective is a very mechanical way. This is the objective. Today we'll be able to understand how to use loops in Java programming and create a loop, things like that. Now, just put it in a more practical, more engaging, more way, find a way to do it. The way we write it in our course syllabi sometimes is not the way that student will relate to it and understand it. So telling them how the objective is important, maybe telling them, today we assume we want to create this. What do you think we should be able to do to create this one? Then they'll say to you, oh, you need to do this. You have some discussion on that one. Simulate a recall of previous learning and link the learning together. We always know about this. Present the content. Now, present doesn't mean a presentation only, it means do the content, run the delivery of the course. Maybe you present nothing. You put the student in a group and give them a case study, give them assignment, and give them something to do, and let them stand on the front and give a presentation. It's not really present, means do a presentation, like what I'm doing now. That's not what should be one. Then while they do the work, give them learning guidelines, help them to know what they need to go through and what they need to be able to do. And then look at their performance, by giving them practical activities and to practice it. Solving mathematics is the great one, Dr. Jamal, for practical aspect. Provide feedback, assess their performance, enhance retentions by say, oh, today you noticed what we did. Let us know now, what did we learn today? Why we do it? When get some discussion at the end of the class to get the student to recall and becomes part of their quotient. And these are the steps which we have so many here, some guidelines. I would
Dr. Hamid?
Yes, yeah, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, those Gagne's nine things, I don't think at every lecture or every activity, somebody has to go through all of them. Sometimes some of them are less relevant than others. So sometimes we focus on some of them. For example, you cannot assess the performance, like for example, with us at every single lecture, and you cannot provide the feedback at every single lecture. Maybe a little bit, but I think this is like an overall set of guidelines for the lecture that have to be done more or less.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes you're not able to do all of it, but if you can, it will be really great. But sometimes I agree with you. It will be difficult to do all of it in one class. Okay, these are some guidelines here. Here is the first one, how to gain your attention, some ideas that maybe you can look at them. I leave this one for you in the presentation and you can go through them. There are lots of videos I will share with you about all these aspects of it. Going to the feedback and assessing student learning.
Dr. Hamad, if you allow me just one point,
please.
From educational point of view, the 9 activities are doable in each session. And to guarantee the achievement of the learning outcome of the session that I'm giving or the class, I think all these are doable, and we can, and it's not necessary to have a summative assessment. It can be or formative assessment. It can just a feedback from the students to get if they are, if I'm in the right track or not in the right track, and correct goals. Checking my objectives, if I'm having 3 or 4 objectives in the class, it's part of the feedback. Doing practical activities. So I think those 9, it's doable if I look at them from education perspective. I know maybe with other majors, they will look at it that I have to do this and this, so it will be difficult for me. But if we look at it specifically from education perspective and what I want to achieve from this lecture, so I'll be able to achieve the 9 or to implement the 9 activities.
I agree with you, Dr. Mohammed. If you look at, for example, assessing performance, if your student, you put them in a group, they're working on an assignment, you cannot just leave them in a group and sit in front of the table and wait for them to do that. You need to go around and see their performance. They may be not able to do this, or maybe they jumping in something without doing something that is necessary, and you tell them your feedback on what's going on in that one. And this is not a performance of the overall course. You're doing that learning activity, you providing feedback on it. Can you give feedback to every single student? You should be able to do that for every single student who need that feedback. But also you can give general feedback that will help all of them as a group if you put them into groups. Say this group, you've noticed you're doing this, you're doing that, but you're missing this, or this should be, this is the guidelines and things like that. Okay, so we can go through that. Now we want to get into the multimedia, which I will go through it quickly, and then we'll have some discussion because we need that discussion. And if you look at the multimedia, you're creating a multimedia, you're creating a video, you're creating a PowerPoint presentation, you're creating other things. What are the things you need to keep in your mind? And sometimes people think this is the instructional design. No, not really the instruction. As you've seen, it's a journey, include everything. This is one important component of that to do. These are some guidelines. This book is again one of the good books by Mayers on those Mayers' principle of multimedia learning. He looked at how people learn mostly, and you can see the coherence principle. Human learn best when not distracted. If you have a PowerPoint slide there and you add some additional information, graphics, or it has nothing to do with that. This will distract the learner. We'll be looking at that. Maybe it's a nice graphic, beautiful, but has nothing to do with the subject. So student will not focus on the learning objective we need to achieve. We'll be focusing on that one. So remove all those distractions from your slide and focus on what really will add value into the learning. And this is important in the multimedia design. Sometimes people love those nice things on but it's not helping the learner. It's just adding distraction to that one. Human learn best when they are shown exactly what to pay attention to. Again, this is related to that. Avoid those are not there. But again, you can highlight the important things in your slide. You can maybe give them different color or use some arrows to point to them, or those important, let their focus first. They look at the slide, they see the first one is what are really important. They need to focus on it. And that's very important aspect for us, because again, visual learners will be more impacted by this one if it's not done properly. Remove redundancy in your, so human best learn with narration and graphics, but don't mix the two together, the three together, the narration, graphics, and text. Some people have they put graphics on the screen, they put text down, like what in that video. That was not the mistake of the video, my mistake. I should remove the captions from there. And then graphics. Students get distracted. They will read text, they don't look at the graphic there. That's really important for them to visualize and understand what's needed. And then the narrative is narration coming as well. So three things together is distracting the student. So the advice here, just don't do that. Put three of them together from this research. And there are many here again, the learner best when relevant text and visual are physically close to each other. So you have a diagram, for example, here, and on one part of your screen, and then you have the text related to it somewhere else. Students get lost. Put the text and graphics together. So if they are closer to each other, they can relate them and they can understand. By looking at a graphic in one place and the text in other place, that will confuse them and will not help them. So make the text and graphics together. That will help. Again, human learn best when corresponding words and visual are presented together. Again, similar, related to that concept somehow, instead of having them in a different order. So put them in the same order. Segmentation, human learn best when information is presented in segments rather than one long continuous stream. I can see even now, in presentation, you will get a presentation of someone putting a long paragraph on the screen. This is not really a presentation. You're getting people to read a book in this way. You don't have to put all this content there. And if the learner is going to read your text, will not pay attention to you. And then becomes difficult. So put them in segment and divide them into segment, and don't make it a long one. Put them into segment and in a structured way and logical way, so people can understand the relation between them. Pre-training principle, humans learn more efficiently if they already know some of the basics, and this is the prerequisites, or you need to get them to certain. Sometimes if you come to a topic and students are not there, do some leveling, take them a little bit to the level where they can go with you. I know we have very limited time, we need to finish the course on time, but jumping into directly the content, or knowing my student is not able to understand, it's just not doing it the right way. And when you design your visual, this is again important to help with that. Modality, again, we are speaking about it, so people learn different ways. So human learn from visual and spoken word, than from visual and printed word. Yeah, so spoken and visual gives more, according to this research, according to Mayer. Spoken and visual gives a better than visual and printed word. So if you can get the spoken is become easy now. We have already tool in our website where you just put a text, it will create for you the audio and video as well. And there's so many tools around, I think presented to you last time, that allow you to create those visual and spoken word as well. And you can record your own one as well. The multimedia principles here. Human learn best from words and pictures than word only. Okay, word pictures help better than just only word. And then personalization. Human learn best from more informal conversational voices than an overly formal voice. So informal gives them more related to the learning. So better you maybe use you, I, related to them, ours, things like that. I remember I was in 2000, long time, 2004 or something. I was teaching a course on Visual Basic programming at that time. I was the dean, but also I like to teach my students, so I get closer to them, I understand them better and things like that. So I recorded a number of videos, I think 30 or something. It's very basic, just I get the recording, I go and explain the problem. This is a problem, we need to create this one, or why we need to create. I go and do it and do that one. And in the video, sometimes I say something like, Muhammad, pay attention to me, you're not looking at screen. You remember last time you had this issue with that one. There's no specific Muhammad in my mind when I did that, but I just say it to get them engaged. And one day, one of my students was watching it at home, and he heard me saying Muhammad, and he's Muhammad as well. So he jumped saying, why are you looking at me? And then he told his father, said, listen to this video from my teacher. And his father became really very happy of that, and he met me and said, oh, this is very nice. Sometimes you relate it, it's good. Maybe it's not appropriate to say Muhammad, because there may be only one Muhammad and there are 20 other students. But when you use a personalized way to say things, you, we, are, those things help students relate to that learning, and maybe to everything. Human learn best from human voice than a computer voice. Now, computer voice became really better and better, but still it still has some issues. Of course, you can make the computer one show some human aspect by injecting in the text certain controls. You can make him show that he is happy, or in saying a certain word, or maybe sad, or maybe want to emphasize it. You can do that, but it requires someone spend a little bit more time on the text and adding those small keys to do it, like the emoji and others inside, and then it will, when it read, it will do. But still nothing like human voice, because you feel the energy, you feel the inside, what's inside that person to do. And I think the computer one will develop and get quickly. But this mayor did it long time ago, so maybe he was thinking at that time it cannot be done. But still, human do not necessarily learn better from talking head videos, which I agree, like Cynthia and others. If we just use those talking head, it's not going to help. Maybe you hide them, you show a video, you show someone in the background, you show some process going on the screen, you show some other thing, but just only someone's talking, it's not going to help a lot. So, and that's keep in your mind. You don't do it all the time. You're teaching language, sometimes it will help, because looking at the face and the lips and the pronunciation maybe can improve that one, but not all the time, even in language itself. So you have to mix those things. I'll go through this one quickly again. Visual design principles of learning. There are so many things we need to cover, but we'll do quick. The three principles here we're looking at it. Visual design principles. The 6 of them, sorry. The contrast, white space, alignment, balance. Usually, if you have someone working with you is a visual design person, they will take care of these things. But sometimes when you do your own presentation, you also need to look at it. So for example, the contrast, it just shows better different color, different size, white on black, or big and small, and those bring better visual design aspect. Alignment of things as well, when you align them together and in a proper way, can help also with that. I'll go just quickly. How far these components from each others, that will help people relate to them and think they are closer to each other. And white space, the use of the white space can be really powerful and useful when you do that. You can look at that one. So if here are some examples, like if I have this centered here or like this, you see what the difference. This is much better, nicer to be, and they are closer to each other, the text and the symbol I'm using in place. Balancing, again, is important. Repetition is important. We have many learning tools that can help us to do this, and at ADU, Liwa College, someone said, I'm surprised I can see people from outside here. We are not outside. Liwa and KIC, just for your information, they are part of Abu Dhabi holding company. They call it NEMA. So they belong to us and we belong to them. So Liwa and KIC are us, and we should look at opportunities we can work together and exchange our experience here. And ADU, we have access to all this. So if needed, we can provide access to Liwa and others. The Vidnami, it's a sad news to me. Vidnami disappeared because it's been acquired by GoDaddy, and GoDaddy, I think they're killing it. They said they will reopen it again. It just, you give a text, it will create for you a beautiful video, and you can customize it and do that. H5B can create interactive learning objects, allow you to do simulations and do much more than just a normal PowerPoint slide. And the good thing, the activities the student is doing is captured in Blackboard, and you can see it in the grade center. We do it. So it becomes a learning, student learn on their own, you know what they're doing, and that will help you to do. There are many other tools we use, Spring, and those tools are available for us. And they all can help you with this applying the design. Now, in terms of if you want to evaluate the learning, this is one of the well-known methods that are being used. And I'll go through them quickly, but I think before I do that, let's have some discussion. If we miss this one, is not important as the discussion which we'll have. I can see some good feedback here about the UDL. As a doctor in management, I think that when you are teaching, must be there are lots of here. I'll share it with you. I'll share with you all those feedback. And let's stop here and have some discussion. And then maybe if we have time, we will do the remaining components. So who wanted to give us feedback on what you have seen so far, how this can be used in your classes, which you're doing now, and what thing we should maybe consider in this area. So let's have some discussion. I'm hoping that you will start putting hands on.
Dr. Hamad, there's one hand, but I think it's Dr. Kashif, and I see this hand raised from the beginning of the session. Dr.
Yeah.
Kashif, are you there? Hello, Dr. Kashif? I don't think he's there. It's from before. Okay.
Okay. Who else would like to give us feedback on what so far we discussed, and any reflections you have, you think you would like to discuss? We notice instructional design is not only for online, it can benefit the online a lot, but also it is for face-to-face delivery. You have seen there are different, we learn differently, and this is not new to us. Dr. Jamal, go ahead, please.
Yeah, actually, it's a comment and a question at the same time.
Please.
You see, you have presented to us really a lot of tools that have convinced us, and some of us may have already tried some of them, like H5P. We have it in LCT, and some people are trying to learn about it and try to implement some things with it. Now, the question is, I see that this domain, I think, somehow requires that the institution has halls that are equipped with high-tech technology to implement some of these tools. Some of them are merely methodological, like the principles and that you have talked about, etc. But some of them do need the installation of some technology. So do you think now the people after Corona, after COVID-19 and, you know, the difficulties in, in putting forward some budget for this is really, really doable in the sense of?
Yeah, I think those technologies, they have two aspects. One is the access to the technology itself. I don't think that's an issue from budget side. We already have them as institution, like H5B, we have it for every faculty, every staff who need to have it. I have slides which we use now to capture feedback from every one of you. We have it for every faculty, for every student, for everyone to use. They are in place, but the concern is about areas that require some certain expertise, those who are good at creating videos, creating graphics, and things like that. So there should be in each university someone can support the faculty with this. I have to admit that one. So you can send him a visual graphics you have in your mind, or concept, or storyboards. I'm teaching this. Would you please put it for me an infographics, or create a short animation for me to do that? That person will take it and create it. That will be very helpful. But nowadays, I have to say, there are tools make things even easier. Maybe you don't need for everything and a media expert to do, which you can create it easily yourself. But it requires, of course, time from you. We're required to invest some time getting to learn these tools. But if I look at, if I'm teaching and my day-to-day classes, and I'm teaching 4 courses, hopefully at least 2 of them I'm teaching for the last 2, 3, 4 years so far. And for these courses during this time, I have accumulated some of this learning object I created, like a short video, I created a small presentation or case study or activities and all those things. This should be in place. And as we said, it's not really the technical, the visual side. The many of it can be doesn't require any of this. And the other thing, that so many learning materials are available everywhere. Like in your mathematics, for example, you know, there is Khan Academy is there in place. It has lots of good videos. If I go to that class and go Khan Academy and create the list of Khan Academy, create a list for my student, I don't need really to create content. So it's not really creating. It's coming with the designing the curriculum you're doing, designing the learning experience, and using technology to support that one. I'm not always happy with people spending too much time doing something which already there. If another faculty has created really a nice presentation, I will use it in my class. I'll say it's done by X. Sometimes we are too much sensitive about it. I want to present only my video to my student, and that I lose that opportunity that I can capitalize on something really good and maybe help that faculty with creating something that he or she can use in their class. So if we look at it together, I think we can achieve more. Good. Thank you, Dr. Jamal. Any other question? Dr. Muhammad, do you have any comments from the education side? I'm jumping into education.
You are an educationist, Muhammad. It's in your blood. But I will highlight also what you mentioned in the beginning. And it's important for any instructor or faculty member to know how the students learn, how they acquire the knowledge and the process. And I'm like one of them, educationists who believe in the learning style. We have different learning style. As an instructor, we need to know what is the way that our students learning through, by using tools or even simple questions to them to know how they can acquire knowledge in the right way, which will make it easy for me to achieve my goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the first important point to do.
And also, I second your point about we will be having a workshop about universal design of learning. It's the last session in the agenda.
Oh, alhamdulillah, good. But I think we have another plan for the spring semester.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe after that session, or maybe part of that session, we can evaluate those different. We know we have feedback on every session, but maybe we have some brainstorming with the faculty. What are other areas maybe we need to focus on it for the spring semester?
Yeah, this is a great idea. And yeah, maybe we can have a session which is just a brainstorming session and listen to our faculty and what their feedback on what we achieved till now and what they are looking for in the future.
What do you think if we have it face to face?
It's better. Yeah? So maybe during the spring faculty professional development day, so maybe we can have 1 hour for discussion. Yeah.
Very good. This is a good idea. I think you are right. It's great. Yeah. Now, the last part is about evaluation of the learning experience. Given that no one has any more questions, we'll go through it quickly. So, one of the Kirkpatrick came with a model of evaluating the results of training and learning program. Look at using the results of it. Was it really changing people skills, abilities, experience, attitude, behavior, personality, everything. So he came with those 5 levels of evaluations. First level, which the reaction. When the reaction is looking at measuring the learners, how are they finding the training engaging, beneficial, and relevant here. And this can be done by different ways. You can have a survey, you can have a focus group to look at that one with the participants to measure their experience. So that's the first one. Then the next one is the learning, measuring the learning. Experience is good, getting experience of student is good, help you to improve the whole thing. But you should not stop there. You need to look at the learning itself. This is the next level, which you look at the participants' learning success. Are they able to perform and demonstrate the knowledge, skills, competencies, confidence, all those things that your program is looking for, or your course want to look in that one. And this here you get more into the assessment method, the exam, the interview styles or projects and all those things. Now here you learn, you're looking at the learning. Is the learning really happening? We know students seem to be satisfied, happy, but are they learning? Are they able to do what required from them? And here comes the assessment and design of the assessment and define of the rubrics and assessment methods become critical. The next level is looking at the behavior. So now you measure whether what has been learned has had a real impact on student, on participants, and whether they are applying that to their learning. So for example, sometimes we run this workshop and sounds good ideas and great things and like that, but then when faculty go back to their classes, they don't use any of it. Behavior will not change, so that's not going to help. So you need to look at that level, and this is a more challenging part to do, but it's more done by observations and looking at the work being created or done by the student, and putting student in scenarios and seeing how they will react to this. And then number 4 is looking at the results. Level 4 is looking at measuring direct outcomes. You have your program, course learning outcome, and looking at what the percentage of that learning outcome has been achieved. Look at against the organization outcomes, or you're looking at the course against the program learning outcome, or you're looking at the program learning outcome against graduate attributes that student should demonstrate at work, and having some performance indicators and KPIs to look at. So how many of students are teaching entrepreneurship, or are you teaching some of these topics? Maybe you need to look at how many students manage to create a successful business plan, or one stage, or other thing, how many of them were successful in creating really a company, and looking at that. It can be at a lower level than that, but that's one of it. So these are the 4 levels. Last question I have, I'll go to our friend. I think I have a question for you again. Tell me, what do you take away from this session? And take your time to do this one. We still have around 6 minutes. So I'll see in the 6 minutes, how many of you, we still have 64 with us who stayed the 2 hours. We really appreciate it. Thank you for staying. I hope it was useful. At least giving you some ideas that you can go back and look at them in more details, and maybe come with some small steps in moving into this direction, or maybe enforcing what you already have been doing, and helping you to maybe think of the next level you want to take your student, your material in. What do you take from this one? I can see some typing, and I'm waiting to see. Yes, I agree. All are important. You are absolutely right, Zahir. They're all important. Okay, practice differentiate teaching styles in the classroom, understand student level. Very good, thank you. By the way, you can add your name if you want. Better methods to keep connected with the student, interactive quizzes, for example. Okay, I use UDL principles. Okay. Good. Universal design for learning. I think next week will be exciting session to go through the universal design for learning. Practice differential teaching and how to engage the student. Very good. The 6 principles for learning. Level of study. Very good. I will ask you a question, how many of you using a slide? It's not only this open-ended question, you can create some games, and some people spending money on Kahoot. Kahoot is a great tool, but we already have free one. It's not really free, we already paid for it. So you can create the same games like Kahoot and others. Engaging students more in my classroom. Very good, thank you for that. Basic principle of UDL. And instructional design and educational technology is very important, and also, but what is passing now is to get the faculty motivated for these tools and give them the time. I agree with Dr. Jamal, that's always a challenge. Actually, there are so many ideas. I want to apply. Replay the recording again to focus on something. Very good. Please do that. Thank you. Okay, I think with that, you can continue giving this feedback, please, on this one. It's not really feedback, it's what you find useful. So next time, maybe if something missing, we can do. And I'm sure there is a feedback inside the system, our professional development portal. Do that one. If you have ideas to further improve the professional development portal, which we created for you, by you, please let us know. We can do whatever needed. Just tell us what you want it to be, how you want it to be done. We will do that. We created it, Dr. Fteha, Dr. Ghazal, and we did this one during the summer. It took us maybe only a week to get it. Most of the week was thinking about what should we include, what should we include. And we are very willing to go back and improve it, make it help you with everything you want to do. And thank you again for being with us on today. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you, Dr. Alicia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Hamad, for this very enriching session and for the amazing PD portal. I keep looking, I keep going there time and time again to see what are the sessions that are about to come and to see, I mean, the feedback of people on different sessions. It's a lovely portal. I think it keeps everything in a very organized manner. So thank you for the portal. Thank you for this session. And thank you, Dr. Fteha, for giving us the opportunity to have these PD sessions. Thank you, dear colleagues, for your participation, for your inputs, and for your feedback. Again, the link is there in the chat. So please, only if you give the feedback would the title of this session appear on your transcript. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Dr. Fteha, would you like to add something?
Thank you. And the system is open also for our colleagues from Liwa and Khwarizmi, so they can access it easily and put their feedback also.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Have a good weekend.
No.
Happy Friday.